Welcome to the Symphonic SMP debate for mayor. We're happy to have you all here, and we hope that this video can clear up any questions you might have about our candidates. In the running, we have 3 candidates: Mango Sorbet, Creepy Crawly Keeper, and Lightning Bug 26. We're going to start off with each candidate's speech, and then we will move on to debate questions.
Hello, fellow symphonists. For you of those who don't know me yet, I am Mango. And today, I'm not just speaking as a player, but as someone who genuinely believes in Symphonic. I believe that we can be greater than any of the SMPs that we've ever seen. Bigger than Unstable, bigger than Lifesteal, bigger than them all. And my mission is simple. Eliminate unnecessary struggle on this server and make Symphonic a place where people can thrive. Right now, too many players fall behind after a single death, or spend hours grinding just to get back to where they were. From my standpoint, that's not very fun. That's frustrating. No one should feel forced to risk everything mining diamonds just to stay afloat. And that's exactly what I want to fix. From day one, I've been building farms, not just for myself, but with a bigger vision in mind. A system that can support players, a system that creates stability, and now, I'm ready to open that system to you all. I will establish reliable resource stocks of wood, wool, and other essential materials so builders can build, creators can create, and Symphonic can finally reach its true potential. But I'm not here to control the server. I'm here to empower it. That's why I'm coming to you guys with a democratic system, where the major decisions are voted on by you, the players of Symphonic. I will create opportunities for symphonists to participate in leadership roles, and those who will contribute will be rewarded greatly. Your voice will matter. Your ideas will matter. And to make sure nothing goes unheard, I will implement a community suggestion system so we can continuously improve together. I also want to push Symphonic forward creatively with a custom resource pack so we can introduce unique custom models such as custom food, armor, and more, giving the server its own identity and style. And finally, I will introduce a fair and practical banking system. Not empty promises, not unstable currency, but a real way for players to grind and essentially get resources a lot easier. This isn't just about adding features. It's building a server where players recover faster, creativity thrives, and the economy works for everyone, along with the community growing stronger together. I'm not just asking for your vote because I have ideas. I'm asking because I have a plan and I'm ready to make it happen. Together, we can turn Symphonic into something truly special. Thank you, and let's make Symphonic bloom.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Luke. I know some of you probably have already decided who to vote for, but just give me a moment to take my stance. You may or may not have seen me campaigning. I haven't really been trying to sell myself as the most perfect, strongest, smartest or powerful player on the server, but I'm just not. That's because I'm not. I'd rather be judged by what I've done. So today I'm going to talk about my history, what I have done, and what I plan to do. What I've done is simple. I've helped build the Netherroop system that we all rely on. I'm the one who originally got us there in the first place. I've provided food, farms, and resources without asking for anything in return. I do this because I have made it my goal to help as many people as I could. Not only to build relations between each of us, but to build a community, as I hoped to create a positive feedback loop where one person helps another and that person returns the favor for someone else. And so far, I think I've done well to achieve my goal. As for my history, where I come from, my world didn't last. It fell apart. World leaders ignored the problems of the common man, saying that the disease, crime, and overpopulation were inevitable and not even their problem. And we can't have that here. This world, it's different, it's fragile, but it's worth protecting, despite those among us who wish to return home and save our worlds. I'm not standing here today to talk on the matter of things like farms or minor improvement of transportation and organization, as I have already gone into detail on those before this speech. And frankly, we should expect those improvements and infrastructure from anyone in charge. I'm here to change something bigger. I don't think one person should carry all the power or all the responsibility. Instead, I will create a council of up to 5 leaders, each responsible for something that they're actually good at. Defense, transportation, organization, all while maintaining my position. These leaders would not be chosen by me, but would be nominated by you, the people, to represent each and every one of you. Meaning each of you, if you would allow it, would play your own part in supporting and helping guide the future of leadership in this world. meaning we would lead together, whether we like it or not. The people to your left, to your right, the people who couldn't make it today are all we have.
7 years ago. No, that's the wrong one. That's the wrong one. We're gonna have a great time in Texas. Still the wrong one. I got it. As someone who has done a lot of crime, I know when crime goes too far. As such, if I'm elected as mayor, I will try to find the criminals stealing discs and make sure the punishment is fit for the crime. From a basic sue to public service to jail time. That being said, I also know too much order can make things incredibly boring. That is why there shall be more mini games and flying courses and fun shopping districts and things like that. Also soup stations all over the Nether Hub, cause deserve soup. Soup for all. Soup!
Mango. Under your rule, will the shopping district become tightly compact or more spread out? Please give a detailed account of how navigating the shopping district might look if you become mayor.
Similar to how a tree has roots, I feel like the shopping district should be vast and easy to traverse. There shouldn't be tightly clumped shops like an Italian neighborhood. It should be more open with a bunch of routes. For example, each pathway could be similar to what the tree looks like. We could have a lot of mini branches, mini routes, along with a lot of different variety of shops, where each shop is like a dedicated zone. Sure, you don't have to be in the zone, but it would also help with organization, and if people ever decide to make a map one day, you can very much easily show which of the shops would be where.
With the shops that are already there, do those shops impede on the layout you have planned, and will you ask the shop owners to move them, or will you build the layout around what has already been built?
The buildings that we already have built are part of the history of the server. To tear them down would be akin to burning the Lumora tree. That said, if they're in an unoptimal area, for example, the globe over there, if somebody wants to build a shop over there, we can always make compromises to try and either move it, or the government will completely pay and relocate it without any issue, as long as all the owners are satisfied and we can all come to a mutual agreement.
Regarding the prices of things, do you want to be able to control and set prices? And if you do not, how will you ensure that prices in the shopping district remain reasonable and not too high or too low?
As I said in my campaign, I will be putting a suggestion box for those who have concerns, questions, or even suggestions, as the name is implied. So one of those may be the prices for the shop. If the other people in my party decide that, hey, it's a good idea to maybe get the entire server to vote on this, then we can have a democratic vote to decide if the price should be lowered. Of course, the government would be inclined to tell the shop owner, and we would have to pay a fine or two to make sure that the shop owner doesn't stay afloat. However, in terms of the long-term longevity of the markets that we're creating, I think it'd be beneficial to keep it that way.
Additionally, is there a plan you have that might incentivize people to engage in commerce rather than creating farms and grinding all the materials themselves?
As I said in my speech, I think it would be cool to have a system like a bank or commerce and trade for items, like farms for farms. I feel like if, for example, my iron farm were to produce a lot of like stuff and I didn't want diamonds, but I wanted to trade for some of Luke's honeycomb, I should be able to do that without paying any taxes or anything.
Thank you. That is all of the questions for now.
Honestly, I say if you don't want to vote for me, you don't have to. I am one of you guys in nature and by heart, and if my ideals don't really align with yours, don't have to vote for me. I just want to help create the server and make it a lot easier to get things when you die.
Well, I have a question for you then. You've said on multiple occasions that you're just gonna be evil. Also, your motto is wealth is power. I don't think anyone should have power over anything, so how is that conducive to a good society? We shouldn't have a society where everyone's on top, so how are you gonna plan to solve that?
Look, to have a society is to have a power. By any means, if you're living, you have some sort of power over something else. Without any sort of power, you wouldn't have anything. Power is just a natural thing in the universe. Without power, nothing could happen. The fact is, man, you have to have some power in order to do that. And whether you're good or evil, power is there. For example, I could be good in my store and you could be evil in mine. Being evil can be subjective.
I have a question. There are some people on this server who have done evil things before, and I just want to know how you would go about dealing with someone who, say, snuck into the end and got an elytra before the end fight.
Mango,
Yeah?
how did you have an elytra?
Got him.
I would like that back, please. I have a little business to take care of.
You see, unlike Luke's defense garrison, I myself am extremely powerful.
That's
coming
Oh man, I ran out.
How do you plan to deal with people? She's implementing a jail. How do you plan to deal with people who break rules?
Well, obviously, jail's already been created. Her thing's jail. His thing is a militia, right? The next best thing that I can offer, honestly, is to bring him in and make him confess his crimes in front of the crowd.
Specifically about the disc snatcher. When we catch the prosecutor, how do you plan on preventing something similar to that happening again? And what do you plan to do to get the discs back for the people who have lost them?
The disc snatcher, whoever they may be, might be a very tricky foe, as a lot of people have been struggling to try and keep their discs safe. I'll probably set up an infomercial or try to make a way to make it so that discs are harder to steal. For example, implementing alarm systems or making thief-proof traps for thieves.
Just a worry that I have. If you are elected mayor, we have kind of thought that you have a severe case of memory loss every time you die. How do you expect to run a proper society if you can die and then just forget everything?
That was because my disc was snatched by the disc snatcher. And as you know, whenever someone loses their disc, something or some type of issue happens to them. I can prevent my disc from being stolen whenever I need to. And if it turns out that my disc does get stolen somehow, just know that the disc snatcher will be caught in 2 seconds.
If there will be a designated space for farms, will the farms already be created or to be moved there? Or do you have a way that might combat lag?
If a farm is forced to be moved for any reason, I would first consult the owner. You know, say, hey, your farm has to be moved for X, Y, and Z reasons. I'm offering to help rebuild it.
In the overworld, are there any other plans you have for transportation?
Why, yes, indeed. I plan on making a couple of railway stations. For me, it's not about how fast the transport is, it's how good looking it is. What I want to do is I want to create some railways going across to people's bases and make them a little more decorated. So if you are like talking to your viewers or something, you could just look at the minecart while you keep going down through the track.
Previously, you said you'd rule based on suggestion box and representatives. Can you outline how the system would work?
First, we have the suggestion box, a little box that leads into this mayoral office, right to the desk of the mayor, to make it easier for them to find what the players want on the server. Depending on what the cabinet members have chosen as the proper suggestions that should be approved, they will go into a trial of some sorts for the others to vote on and see which ones they want in the server and what they don't.
You also have claimed before that you would like to introduce a bank system. What specifically do you believe is wrong about our current system, and why is yours better?
For the server, I feel like there have been a bunch of issues with mining. For example, Bypass made a automatic mining machine which worked in the overworld but crashed the server when it was in the nether. That might be an issue when it comes to when people need a lot of diamonds quickly. What I want to do is make it so that people don't have to just go for diamonds over and over, whereas we as the mayor system can create a bank to promote things that are a lot easier to get. For example, we'll have our own sets of armor, we'll have our own sets of tools to give to the players, and it'll just be like backup boxes.
Before, you've said that you want to hold Lamora accountable. What does this entail, and what does she need to be held accountable for?
If we go to the tree behind us, you may notice that Lamora is gone. And what I want to do is make sure that Lamora is still alive in the server, still doing things, still making appearances and stuff, whether it's just for showing that they're alive or just showing that they still believe in us, Symphonists.
You've mentioned before that you would like to tax the people who've ran against you, and what would those taxes go towards?
The people who run against me, they will be taxed to the utmost heavily to sponsor the entire server's creation. There will not be a single person that doesn't have their own shop that is easily erectable or have anything that is not easily done. Instead, Luke over here and Lightning over here will be paying for it all out of their pockets. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mango.
Luke, specifically regarding the Lumora tree, how do you plan to integrate that into the overall layout and keep people from treading on Lumora's ground?
The Lumora tree is the heart of this world, the most sacred area. The flattened area around the Lumora tree, I plan to implement some kind of observation path, not anything that's obstructive, something where everyone can have free reign over observing the tree. Going inside the temple, I don't think should be limited, because we were all brought by Lumora, should have the right to go inside. I believe we should just keep it how it is, don't touch anything, and make sure that the tree doesn't get damaged in any way, because we don't know how that can affect this world.
Additionally, what is your proposed overall layout?
I plan to have 3 different districts. A shopping district, a business/mayoral/governmental district, and then also a mini-games district. The shopping district will be the largest of the 3, and to be able to craft and make shops in this area, you should be able to get a permit for the area. It's not going to be difficult to get, you just need to apply for a certain space, list the coordinates in a book perhaps. If your shop is accepted, which it will likely be accepted unless it's too large or overshadows anything else in the area, or of course treads on the Lumora tree's ground, then it will be denied. The minigames district will be around somewhere where either bypasses build or where Vec has built the music machine. Additionally, the mayoral and business district will include all of the non-shop businesses, so for example Barnett's newspaper agency, along with the area that in which the barracks or militia resides.
A few people have created shops outside of the shopping district. Is this an issue for you? And if so, what would you want to do to encourage players to keep their shops relegated to the shopping district?
For one, I feel like motivation to put our shops in the shopping district is mainly foot traffic. There should be just a passive motivation to put our shops in the shopping district. I'm not going to force anyone. As for shops and bases, I feel like they should still be registered to ensure that there's no crazy overlap, like 4 different shops selling the exact same thing.
About your defense militia, how much of the government are you going to be dedicating to that? You also have to accommodate the tools, the weapons, potions, all of that material. So how much are you planning on dedicating all that to?
To be honest, the militia's not really so much of a military or defensive force, so realistically we wouldn't really have to dedicate much, because all the militia is going to be is literally just a group of players which you can call on if you need assistance.
As you're aware, there's been assassination threats. How do you think this might affect your campaign, and what would you do to prevent something like Skelly's assassination happening in the future?
To be honest, I don't want to offend anyone here, but Skelly was... It's a theory that he just really wasn't sentient and someone had just put him there, but...
Boom!
Yeah.
Wait.
Not my skelly!
I think that if there is any future assassination attempts, I feel like a leader or mayor there should be provisions taken and measures taken to make sure that everyone doesn't get hurt. The thing is I just really hope that I don't have to implement specific measures to prevent this, because I feel like if there's only 20 of us and we have to, I guess, oust someone because they've started causing problems, assassinating people, I feel like that is not conducive to a good society. I feel like implementing a jail is probably not something that I would do, but I would probably just send them out to the world border. That way that they can still live freely.
Will you ask people to put their farms in designated places?
I have had the thought of implementing an industrial district, but some farms require certain biomes, certain areas to function properly, so I feel like the further away from the Lumora tree, the better. Just like a basic guideline that I would probably implement, just to make sure that there's just no farms within the vicinity that everyone lives. The farms that are already present, I'm not going to force anyone to take them down, because I know people have put a lot of work into them. If they're at your base and if they are covered, that is fine. If they are really, really large, massive industrial farms, I do recommend either putting them directly at your base and covering them up, or putting them somewhere outside of the 2,000 block range.
Okay.
I would also like to add that we have the above nether hub, but I also plan on under nether, kind of more pretty area, I guess, and then we can use the top of the nether roof for faster transport and the lower nether for a more of a scenic route.
You said you have planned to step down as mayor and elect other leaders to run different departments. When people vote for you, who are some potential department heads that might be elected?
I did want to clarify that I'm not going to step down as mayor, as in I won't be playing a role. You can still call me mayor, but I'll have less power, basically. I'll have the same amount of power of all of the other leaders. I've said it on multiple occasions. Mango, he's good at combat. He could be a very good candidate for leader of defense and could run the militia or garrison if he wanted to. Pigs, he really wanted to help organize the shopping district. He could also be a leader. And Whimsy, she actually wanted to run in the first place. She was going to run, but she had to go, so she could be a good leader of transport. I think every single person here can and will have the opportunity to become a leader. Every single person matters here.
And does this come out of our own money? Like, for example, if I get elected as defense, will it come out of our budget, or how would you get the money for that?
To be honest, I feel like the government itself should not hold any power, like monetary power. No taxes, not at all. No taxes from this guy. The leadership itself probably wouldn't really require any money. If they want funding, I would be willing to fund everything. Mango, realistically, what would we need to fund?
Farms, shops, entertainment, mini games.
Minimum wage
to pay why would we need money for that? We don't need money for that.
Yeah, to pay the workers.
I will say that it is volunteer work. The payment that you will get is by helping others. I don't want to end up being some kind of capitalist society.
So are we being paid in exposure at least?
I guess, yeah.
Yeah, will you shout us out on your channel?
In your proposal, you mentioned that shops and farms have to be registered with permits for land. What will that process look like, and will places be denied?
It will be really simple, and there's probably not much of a chance that it will get denied. The process is going to be, you won't have to pay for it, you just have to register it to make sure that... I basically just want a list of every shop, because I also want to make a map in the shopping district where you can just kind of see where everyone else's shop is. That's literally the only point of registering a shop. I really don't think there's going to be any denials unless it's like people want to put their shop on a plot that's already taken.
Regarding the militia, how do you plan to prevent that from being, corrupted and used for evil?
It is not a military force nor a police force. There will be no policing of laws.
Yes,
it won't
but
be
if you're
funded
going to
by the
help
government.
people out with the militia, how do you know they're actually going to help and they're not going to go just laugh at the people who have died?
That's where trust comes in. We're all here for a reason. Every single one, I trust everyone. If it comes to the militia being some kind of corrupted force, I feel like that would be my own fault, and I would be willing to take the blow for that. The people that I will be willing to be a part of the militia will go through a selection process, and if I select the wrong people, I feel like that is my own fault. I hope that there won't be any corruption just out of trust.
Lightning. Do you plan on separating shops based on what they are selling, or leaving most of the layout up to the people? If you're leaving most of the layout up to the people, then how do you plan to prevent a chaotic and non-organized structure?
To say the least, I'm not exactly planning not to have a chaotic and unorganized structure. I'm thinking of having a rough layout of blocks that spiral out from the tree, and roughly we'll put those shops there. In order to respect the Lamora tree, we'll just have a rough area around it that you would not put the shops in.
There have been recent instances of people creating multiple shops for the same item. Do you believe this is a problem that should be solved? And if so, how do you plan to deal with competing shops?
So I don't really think it's a problem that needs to be solved. I think that it's actually a really great way to balance everything out is competitive stuff. It's going to keep prices lower, and it's going to keep things fun.
Pertaining to evil people and the world that we live in, we've heard a little bit, Lightning, about a jail. I would like to know, A, what that would look like and how you would handle the consequences within a jail, and B, what sort of actions would constitute getting sent to jail?
I'm going to start with B, the actions that would constitute it. It would be definitely like disc stealing, something that would majorly affect someone and how they're living their life. A lot of those consequences would be based off of whoever was affected by it, would be discussed between me and them, possibly some other people to make it more evened out. And honestly, the most extreme would of course be jail. Now jail is a whole thing. It will definitely be interesting for whoever ends up there. That's all I'd like to elaborate on that.
What?
Follow-up question. Would sending people to jail involve a court of some sort, or would you directly decide who faces consequences and who doesn't? And how will you keep that power from getting abused?
I think I would institute some sort of court. So probably just a small one, like me, 2 other people, and one of them being the victim, and then one being an unbiased party, of course. That would be the deciding factor of how everything would turn out. I think that would help get it from being abused, but I mean, corruption can seep in anywhere, so I cannot guarantee it.
If you are implementing a jail, what would the sentences look like? Permanently putting someone in jail, is that something that could happen, or is it more of a kind of rehabilitation program?
Yes, so there would never be a permanent jail time. I don't ever think there's anything that could constitute that, especially considering that we can respawn. I can't really think of anything, but definitely, yes, redeeming, redemption, or maybe just scaring them enough not to do it again, if need be.
So along with like the disc dealing and stuff, right? What would the sentencing be in terms of like, would it be by a court or would it like be you? I don't think you really answered Sky on that.
Okay, so there probably wouldn't be any official court unless we needed to. It'd be decided by 3 people, me, the victim, and an unbiased party. And that would do the sentence.
Some farms have been built in places that ruin the view or cause lag for other symphonists. Do you plan on creating any rules limiting this?
I would think so. If anyone wants to, if I'm mayor and anyone wants to file a complaint and tells me about how it's affecting their own gameplay or living on this world, I would definitely want to bring that in and take care of it. But not any rules in particular, just taking care of anything that may become a problem. So if people are watchful, then nothing would happen.
We already have another roof for quick transport at the moment, but do you plan to improve this? And if so, how?
So I do plan to make some minor improvements, such as, again, actually soup stations so you can have food if you run low. And also, flying courses in there, because I know people do a lot of flying, to be able to have a lot of fun and a lot of soup, and maybe some decorations as well, and that would be it.
You've mentioned implementing a jail public service and sue system. Will these systems be handled by a court? And if not, who decides how much people are sued, what people do for public service, or how much jail time they might face?
It's kind of the same system as before. It's going to be 3 people, the victim, myself, and an unbiased party, who's going to decide all these things. Hopefully, it will mostly be based off of how much damage you caused. The sue would be higher if you caused more damage, is the way to put it. The public service would be worse if you did worse, and jail would be jail.
What kind of public service would a person be required to do?
Simple things, such as perhaps mining for diamonds, or maybe helping build some obstacle courses, or fixing if there's meme-related graffiti all over the Lamora tree somehow or something. That would be the kind of thing.
So how much can people be expected to be sued for if they end up in this situation? What is the highest amount of
I'd say the highest would probably be 150 diamonds.
If you win mayor and end up putting flying courses around the server, will you plan on also implementing speeding tickets?
I do not think so. I might actually, if I were to implement anything with speed, I would implement 2 slow tickets, like people hanging out on the courses or something like that.
Last question. Was the poster worth the threat of assassination?
Definitely. Yes, that was, yes.
Thank you for your time.
That concludes the mayoral debate. If you made it to the end, I am very grateful, and I hope you guys have a better understanding of our candidates' stances and feel more reassured in your vote. For any Symphonic members, voting will take place in the Town Hall voting booths, pictured here, and for viewers, you guys can vote in the popular vote over on the official Symphonic SMP Discord and on my Twitter, both of which I will link in the description. For any of my viewers, I promise episode 1 is coming soon. I want to make sure that you guys get the best content that I can possibly give you, and I'm working very hard to tie everything together nicely, but I promise I'm still working on it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and if you like this content, maybe, just maybe, you guys might consider hitting the like or subscribe button. You don't have to if you don't want to, but if you want to.